Elena, can you teach us how to do splits? Elena, how do you do your splits? I've been hearing you all ask, so I'm finally going to teach you how to do your splits. Hey, it's Elena and welcome back, or nice to meet you. Today we're going to go over how I stretch to get my splits. If you haven't watched my square splits video yet, I recommend watching that first before watching this one. So you should go back and watch it. And when your hips are twisted when you're doing splits, it's way easier than doing square splits. So now my mom's showing you that she's in square splits. See how she doesn't go all the way down, but she's trying to keep her hips square. And then if she gets into twisted hips, Mom, get into twisted hips, she can easily, see, do a split. So square splits are harder than twisted hips. Now that you're aware about square splits, we can get to stretching. In the beginning, I'm going to show you and give you some corrections to do when you're doing your stretches, and then afterwards we're going to go over it together. Okay, first we're going to start with a pike stretch. Okay, we're going to try to go down slowly into the pike position, and if you're in pain right here, then you should stay right here and stretch little by little. Don't go all the way down. If you can go all the way down, you're going to get your chest to your legs, and then if it's easy, you can flex your legs to make it more of a stretch. Okay, now we're going to stay in our pike for 30 seconds. Ready? Go!
So when we're starting off with a pike stretch, it's okay if your chest can't touch your legs at first. You want to slowly go down. So you want to make sure you're breathing, and as you exhale, you want to go a little bit more down towards your chest. Now, if you can have your chest on your leg, you can try to flex and point. And you can always change your positions while you're in your pike stretch. Just make sure you're comfortable and in not too much pain. It should just be a stretching pain.
And we did it. Great, now we finished the pike position and we're gonna go into, I have no idea what this is called, but this position where your knee's down and you're in a 90-degree angle. Okay, when you're here, make sure you're still squaring your hips and your back leg is going straight backwards. You can check and see if when you bend your knee, your toe goes up. If it's too painful to get your hands all the way to the floor, you can always use a block. I don't have my blocks right now, but you could use a block or a pillow, anything, books to get your body up and then get to the point where you feel a stretching type of pain. If your hands can't touch the floor, try to get your chest to your legs. Ta-da! And you can try to also get your elbows down to the floor as your chest is touching your leg. If that's too easy, you can try with flex foot and doing the same thing. Getting your chest and then your elbow to the floor. Yay! Okay, now we're gonna stay here for 30 seconds doing your maximum point. Ready? And begin.
If the floor is too easy, you can also use the wall to keep your foot flexed. So like the pike stretch, you can either keep your foot flexed or pointed. Pointed is easier, and your chest doesn't have to be all the way towards your legs unless you can. You can start off with your chest above your leg or off the leg and slowly go down as you exhale. And you can always change your positions if you feel uncomfortable, so make sure you have a comfortable stretch.
Okay, good job. After this position, you're gonna go into a lunge. Make sure you have a 90-degree angle here so you're not too forward and you're not too back. Make sure your knee is right on top of your heel. Okay, for a lunge, depending on your flexibility level, there's different ways to do it. If it's your first time stretching and you're having a hard time getting your hands to the floor, you can use a block or books to support yourself while you're trying to stretch down. And if you can keep your hands on the floor, you can just stay here and stretch. You can also try to cross your arms with your left hand on your right knee and your right hand on your back knee. And try to keep a nice steady posture. And for my advanced friends, we can try to get our back knee off the floor so then we can stretch even more. And you can also try to keep your arms crossed. If you can do this, you can also bring your arm up and stretch right there. This is the hardest one. Make sure you're not twisting in that position either. Your hips should still be square and you should be facing forward and not diagonal. There's a few ways to check. 1. Is your back heel facing the ceiling? Can you bend your back knee and have your toes pointing up? Are your hips actually square? Awesome, good job. Now let's keep going on stretching. Like we checked in square splits, you can also bend your knees and pull it towards your back. This will also stretch your hamstring. This is more difficult, so this will be for my advanced friends. Okay, now that we know how to stretch our lunges, depending on our flexibility, let's stay here for 30 seconds. Ready?
For this stretch, you can also use the wall to make sure your knee is above your foot. And you can always keep your hands to the floor first and then slowly get up to whatever feels more comfortable for you. Make sure you're stretching at your maximum point. And as you get used to it, you can always lift your knee up, you can bend your knee, any position that feels comfortable for you, like all the other stretches. And we're almost there. Nice.
Good job. After our lunge, we're gonna go back to our beginning position. We're gonna go back and forth like this into lunge. So each time you're gonna stretch down, stretch down. So we're gonna do this 10 times. Ready? Go.
Okay, for this exercise, it doesn't really matter how fast you go. I'd rather you go slower. You want to make sure you go stretch into one position down and then into the other position also stretch. It's not more of going fast, it's more of making sure you're stretching, and you want to make sure you can go as far down as you can, not just going fast from one position to the other. First, start off with 5 of these exercises and then you can work your way up, but I'm showing 10 here because I think 10 is a nice number. So as you get to your 6th, 7th, 8th stretch of doing these exercises, you should go down even more. If you really want to do 10 of these exercises, you can also take breaks in between, like doing 5 and then take a break and do another 5.
Okay, now we're gonna go slightly forward, not all the way down to a split. We're just gonna go down a little bit, not too much, right here. And now we're gonna do the same thing. We can either stay here and get our chest to our leg, or get our elbows down and our chest to our leg, or flex and do the same thing. Flexing is a little bit harder. We're gonna stretch here for another 30 seconds. Ready? Go.
So just like the other stretch, you can also keep your foot flexed or pointed depending on how comfortable you are. And you can also use the wall if it keeps your foot flexed in the front. And you can first start off with your chest up and then slowly go down as you exhale. So always make sure you're breathing while you're doing these stretches. See how I'm flexing and pointing a little bit? You can also try that if that feels more comfortable and you can stretch more. Okay, you're almost there.
Okay, nice. And now we're gonna just bend our front leg. Now this time it's okay if it's not 90 degrees, but you can keep your knees bent there and go as down as you can. I'm almost touching, but you might still be all the way up here, and that's totally fine. You just want to go and stretch little by little. Okay, we're going to stay here for another 30 counts. Ready? Go.
Okay, I'll admit this position is like a little bit weird. Like my leg kind of gets tingly sometimes. So if this feels a little bit uncomfortable, you can try to do 15 seconds at first. But this kind of helps stretch me to go down into a split afterwards. You can also lift your hips up and then slowly go down if that also helps. Alright, a little bit more to go. 3, 2, 1.
I think that was 30, I don't know. Woo! And then from here, you're gonna try to straighten your front knee, and then you're gonna try to go down little by little.
Hold on, stop. Are your hips square?
Especially when we're trying to go down afterwards, because we want to sit on the floor, we're going to start twisting before we know it, like this. So make sure every time you're rechecking and making sure, oh, I'm not in square splits. I need to make sure I go back to square and start from there again. And you can spend as long as you want to try to get into a split, but make sure you're always in square. If you really want to get down in a square split, then you want to make sure you stretch almost every single day. When I was 10, I started off like this, and then I started stretching every single day to try to get into a split that's totally square, and it took me a whole month to do that. It takes time and effort to get to your goal. Then now let's refresh and do it all over again with our other leg. Now we're going to continue each position for 30 seconds. No stopping this time. Ready? Go.
Okay, now let's stretch the other side. So this is going to be a little bit more painful or a little bit more difficult than your other leg, I think, because this is probably your second leg and it's your other bad leg. So it's definitely okay if you can't even do the full 30 seconds. It can still be 10 seconds, but make sure you rest in between if it hurts too much. You can always keep your chest up above your chest if this is too uncomfortable. I'm just having my chest towards my legs because I'm trying to stretch more. Okay, now that I finished 30 seconds, I'm gonna go into a lunge and then find my comfortable position, and we're gonna start from there. So since my left leg is stiffer than my right side, I'm not putting my arms all the way up. I'm keeping it crossed so I can stretch a little bit more until I feel comfortable. I'm also grabbing my back leg to stretch a little bit more so I can go more down. Just like all the other stretches, you don't have to stay in one position. You can go into different positions as you feel comfortable. So I feel more comfortable now, and that's why my hands are up and I feel more of a stretch. Okay, now we're gonna do the 10 times stretching from the first 90-degree position into the lunge. I'm going to be repeating myself, but if 10 is too hard for you, you can start off with just 5. Especially if it's your first time, I would recommend 5 times because 10 times might be too much and you might get too tired. So make sure in each position you're putting your maximum effort and pushing down 1 second and then pushing back down in the other position. Also, if you only did 5 on one side, I would recommend doing only 5 on this side as well. If you want to stretch more on your back side, you can also do more counts for the back side. And always make sure you're in your square splits in both positions. Alright, from the lunge position, we're going to straighten our front knee and stay there and stretch. Alright, here we go with another 30 seconds. Remember, you don't have to have your chest on your leg like me. You can start off with just your chest above or whatever position feels comfortable, and you should feel a little bit of a stretching pain. Start off with your front toe pointed so it doesn't hurt too much, and then as it feels comfortable, you can start flexing your foot. But if as you're flexing your foot it hurts, you can always point your toe. Okay, now let's get our body up, and then we're gonna bend our front knee right there. Oh, look, I'm in pain. So this stretch is a little uncomfortable for me, especially for my left leg, so it might be a little bit uncomfortable for you too. But it's okay, you just want to make sure you stretch a little bit, and if it hurts too much, you can always go back and take a break and make sure you're comfortable. And I recommend having books or a chair or anything that will keep your body up and make you have a little bit more of a comfortable stretch. Alright, 2, 1, we're done. Oh, thank goodness.
Now we're gonna slowly go down. Yay, thank you so much for working on your splits with me. Remember, this whole process took me a month of stretching every day to finally get into a square split. So you might get your splits faster than me or maybe slower than me, and that's totally fine. You just want to make sure you stretch every day. If you just want to get a split, it's totally fine to just twist your hips, but if you want to do a good perfect split, then you want to make sure your hips are square and having your square splits. And when you're stretching, if you feel alone, it's okay. You can just come and watch me again and we can stretch together. I hope this helped you out, and I hope you get your square splits soon. Good luck. Bye.